Those who make peaceful revolution impossible will make violent revolution inevitable.
Revolution.
First, what is a revolution?
Revolution is the solution, hey.
The motive of a revolution.
Well, now,
The objective of a revolution.
we televised.
And the result of a revolution. And the methods used in a revolution.
I know you know. Put my gun away. Never gonna put my gun away. Put my gun away. See the mob, you better run away.
This generation of Americans has already had enough, more than enough, of war and hate and oppression.
Hello, internets. Hope everybody is having a fantastic Sunday evening. I'm joined by Eric Benante tonight, and we're going to talk about why everything is fake and gay. Eric, how are you? How are you this lovely evening?
It's great to see you, Michael. Thanks for having me, and congrats on 240. Big accomplishment, genuinely.
Thanks, homie. Are you mourning the death of Lindsey Graham?
Oh yeah, everyone. I poured out some baby oil and buried a butt plug in the backyard, in honor of Lindsey Graham. So tragic.
Look, I'm not going to celebrate his death, but I'm not going to mourn it either. And I mean, fuck, there's I dropped an F-bomb in the first 2 minutes of YouTube. That means nobody's going to see this. What up, Danger? So yeah, there's a bunch of weird stuff going on with it already. I mean, should we jump right into it? What's going on in your life, Eric? Tell everybody about this. This is Eric Benante, the world famous stand-up comic, and you guys should all go and subscribe to his YouTube channel because it's hilarious.
Thank you, producer, comedian, documentarian. Not to brag or anything, but I am revamping my YouTube. So Eric Benante on YouTube, you'll find me. I have an imposter actually who took my name. Long story, but anyways. Good. It is good to be back with you. Really appreciate it. I don't have too much, though I am tomorrow filming something pretty cool at the World Cup. I can't say too much, but I will be at the World Cup game tomorrow, Spain versus France. It'll be very interesting. Nobody
likes Spain or France, Eric.
Yeah, more to incite and trigger people with interviews, but I'm not sure if I can. I wasn't sure if I could even say it. Who's involved. I'm not sure if I'm allowed, but slight. It's going to a preview of something cool coming.
All right, let us know when it's out. We'll push it out there. All right, let's get into the Lindsey Graham shit. So on. What was this? It was late night. It was late night Saturday. I got home and I just doom scrolling like I do before bed because that's healthy. And July 7th, this is 11:02 p.m. The Lindsey Graham official Twitter account puts out statement from the office of U.S. Senator Lindsey Graham, Republican out of South Carolina. The office of U.S. Senator Lindsey Graham released the following statement. On the evening of Saturday, July 11th, U.S. Senator Lindsey Graham passed away from a brief and sudden illness. Senator Graham's family appreciates prayers at this time. What family? And asks for privacy during this incredibly difficult period. Died of a brief and sudden illness. Doesn't it just sound a little bit suspicious right off the bat?
Yeah, I remember back in the day there would be jokes about certain medical treatments on this, but the very end, the funny thing about it is there's a rumor that the person who made the 911 phone call, they say it's a woman. They aren't releasing who the woman is, and the rumor is that if you know Lindsey Graham, doesn't hang around a lot of women.
Yeah, was she born a woman is the question.
Well, yeah, it could be a situation where it's his paramour who was in a situation, behind closed doors. Something.
Eric, hold on. I'm stupid. What does paramour mean? I just know the band.
Thank you. A lover, a person you have a tryst with.
Okay.
Okay, if you've read your Shakespeare.
What does tryst mean?
Tryst is a love in a like private area, secluded private area.
And don't reference Shakespeare on me. I'm the one that had to tell you about Shylock.
Yeah, exactly.
I couldn't believe you'd never heard of that.
There's a rumor that, you know, maybe he was in a situation that gets your heart rate up. Okay. And because of that, you know, he lapsed into the heart attack, and then someone had to call, and that's why they're afraid to release who it was. Because if it was like, you know, if it was one of his staffers, why would they be behind closed doors with him? And reportedly, this is just what I heard on like CNN or something, is that he was behind a door with like a deadlock or like a padlock, and they had like pound it down, you know? And so like, that's what it was.
But these are all rumors.
Yes, but that would be why that would supposedly make sense. So
I saw somebody made a meme that showed like an exploded butt plug and said like the official death of Lindsey Graham has been confirmed. And I'm so dumb. I was kind of like, wait, really? Did they really get him with an exploding butt plug? So immediately I thought it was Rabbi Shmuley, but I don't, and I'm not claiming it was. So don't sue me, Rabbi Shmuley, with your kosher sex exploding butt plugs.
Are you old enough to know the Richard Gere joke about
the gerbil
hamster? Yeah, right, yeah. Sorry, gerbil. You're correct. Yeah, where did I go to school?
Get it right.
But yeah, that something like that, where you're in a precarious, embarrassing situation, you know, and then you have a heart attack. It's like that. That is crazy. So.
Oh, I don't know. Okay, so I got a bunch of stuff pulled up on this. So let's go to the next thing here. So
yeah, I mean, yeah, with Lindsey Graham, I guess, you know, most people were upset with him being like a neocon war hawk.
Yeah, and he's in Israel more than he's in America, North Carolina specifically. So let me share my screen. It's like a 17-second clip I'm going to play really quick. Because dude, what's really weird is the fact that he was in Ukraine the day before, looking healthy as hell, giving speeches and shit. And he visited a rocket factory or a missile factory in Kiev, and then Russia blew it up. So a lot of people are speculating, did Russia blow up Lindsey Graham? But this is him the day before. This is less than 24 hours, or maybe around 24 hours before he died.
So when I get back to Washington, I'm going to go with Senator Blumenthal to the Republican and Democratic leader to see if we can find time to move this Russian sanctions package that would give tools to President Trump to help end this war. So
well, we know that he doesn't want to end this war. I have a whole thing. Oh, and then so today, Nick Sorter just posted this. I don't know if you saw this, but apparently nearly 20 federal agents from various agencies, including the FBI, have been spotted at Lindsey Graham's home in D.C. today, per NBC. Agents are there out of an abundance of caution, and there is no new evidence that has arisen since his death on Saturday night to indicate foul play, law enforcement sources tell NBC. So what's going on here, man? This just seems a little too off to me. So I don't know what really to make of this, because I don't know. And this is one case where I can't blame Israel. Like, why would Israel want to kill him? He was their number one cheerleader. So, can't blame him or can't blame them. But I mean,
he's never met a war that he wanted to end. I understand what you're saying there. He is the ultimate warmonger. In fact, Netanyahu once told the story about how Lindsey Graham argued for more arms than what Netanyahu wanted, and Netanyahu was like, like, you really think I'm not asking for enough? He's like, I'll get you more, and in a couple cases he did. So Lindsey was like really the ultimate neocon.
Well, so Netanyahu was just on, I think, Fox News today, and he was telling a story about how he was explaining to Lindsey Graham how he wants to like roll back U.S. funding to Israel, and they sort of want to, they got a robust economy now, and they want to roll back funding to Israel. And Lindsey Graham was like, "How dare you? We can't. Why would we do that?" And I mean, I think a lot of it too is, this doesn't follow, but apparently Lindsey Graham died with a $1.5 million net worth, which is extremely low when you compare it to people like Nancy Pelosi. But I mean, you naturally think, like, what is he getting on the back end from the military industrial complex when he's pushing these wars? But maybe it really was just for the love of the game. He just loved war, man. He just loved neocon war hawking. Love the game, bro.
Yeah, I mean, I would say like 1.5 million is actually the amount when you talk about what does your congressional salary add up to over years. That actually makes sense if that is the case. It's one of the rare times, like, even like MTG and all these others who are railing against this guy, they're worth far more than he is. And so if you believe the numbers, but it's hard actually not to. He was a true neocon. I'm not excusing him. I'm saying that his focus was on increasing power, right? That was his sole focus, was power, influence. And, with his rhetoric, he was obsessed with this race to the bottom and lowest common denominator type of thinking, which is why in DC, they referred to Lindsey Graham as a power bottom.
That was good. I didn't even see it coming, Eric. That was good. I like that. That was like the snow Jews joke that you told me when I was
can't say that one on your stream.
Why not? It's so funny. I really thought you were telling me like something legit. And yeah, that was a good punchline. I talk to Eric when I'm running sometimes, and he likes to run his material by me. And sometimes he gets me with some zingers.
Sometimes.
All right. So what do you think of the idea that he Russia is known for assassinating people with like poison and shit like that. And they did just blow up the missile factory in Kiev, that the very one that Lindsey Graham was at. And Lindsey Graham was one of the number one promoters of the Ukraine war and, funding the Ukraine war. And Iran isn't the biggest fan of Lindsey Graham either. So, I mean, what do you think about the thoughts that something actually happened to him over in Ukraine and they brought him back here and it's like, oh, look, he's dead?
I mean, it is certainly within the realm of possibilities of what we know Putin has already done to his political enemies. And again, for all the criticisms of Lindsey Graham, he was very consistent in this area. You want a war, I will give it to you, and I will continue to give it to you forever. So just as much as he was a backer of Israel, he was a backer of Ukraine. And so I could see why Putin would want to do it, though, as you know, there is a lot of ascribing evils to Putin that don't actually exist. It's just this paranoia from the left. So it's hard for me, to believe everything about Putin just at face value because I've been lied to so much about what he does. But I totally could see it, certainly. But it's like, what did they get him with? Was this like a Boomer Eazy-E situation, where they injected him with some disease from a male lover? Like, it's like, how would they actually assassinate him? Really, it probably wouldn't even be that hard if they wanted to. They could have done it a long time ago. It's like the Khomeini guy. Did we really need to bomb him when he was literally on the verge of dying anyways? So I don't know. What do you think about this?
I don't know. I don't know what to make about it. It's just, it's weird. The whole situation is weird, and I don't know what to make of it. So,
well, we did get a pretty astute comment here mentioning the other character in this. What if he died of a broken heart because of Mitch McConnell?
Yep. So I was just about to bring that up. That's Danger. That's my buddy in the chat there. He subscribes to you on YouTube already.
You're a good man, Danger.
Just went shooting with Danger last Thursday. It was fun. All right. So Mitch McConnell. So I'm going to read the whole statement. This is freaking long, man. He left out. So, okay. So let me share this. Let me share my screen here because they posted a picture of. So everybody's been saying that Mitch McConnell's dead, and which is, it's weird because this is his wife in China right now.
She when he was like, having medical issues, she traveled to China. She was traveling to China and didn't interrupt her trip to China, I believe, to meet with like a vice president or someone big over there.
So they posted this picture of Mitch McConnell in the hospital, and clearly he's in a hospital bed. And the first thing that jumped out to me is, well, he's in his normal clothes. You're not wearing your normal clothes when you're in a hospital bed. So they clearly dressed him up for this picture, like put on your normal clothes. So you're not in a hospital gown looking like you're, sick in the hospital. But then, I mean, somebody seems to have confirmed with Grok that this picture was taken in 2023. So I don't know. I don't know what to make of it. And other people are speculating that they need to basically keep him alive on paper until a certain date. So they can't have a special election to take his seat. It will simply expire. His seat will be vacant, until the next election or whatever. And other people are speculating, wouldn't this be funny if Thomas Massey ran for his seat and then Miriam Adelson would have to shell out $20 million more to keep him out of that seat? That would piss her off. So he released a statement. Well, his office reached. No, it says statement from Senator Mitch McConnell. So Washington, D.C., U.S. Senator Mitch McConnell, Republican out of Kentucky, released the following note to constituents regarding his hospitalization and recovery. To my fellow Kentuckians, when you elected me to a seventh term, God, that's so bad, seventh term, and made our Commonwealth's longest serving senator, you did so trustingly that I'd keep showing up to fight for you every day. And over the past several weeks, Elaine and I have appreciated both your well wishes and your honest questions about what was keeping me away from the Senate. This is going to be a long-winded fucking bunch of word salad. We'll keep going. You all know how folks of my generation often hesitate to share vulnerability that comes with growing older, even in the public eye. I feel the same instinct. I can't help it. And yeah, that it doesn't help that he had those just like look like a stroke on camera where they're interviewing him and he just like went blank and couldn't talk anymore, and they had to cart him off the stage. You remember that? Yeah.
And so that might be where they started collecting these proof of life photos.
Right. All right. So he says, but at the same time, I've had more than my share of experiences with physical vulnerability. Surviving childhood polio meant spending my entire life with mobility challenges. They haven't exactly gotten easier to manage with age. And last month, I took a fall, which landed me in the hospital. My doctors have confirmed that I didn't break any bones or suffer a concussion. I didn't have a heart attack or a stroke. If you say so. I don't have any tumors or hemorrhages, but I was briefly unconscious and was taken to the hospital. If you're unconscious, if you got knocked unconscious from a fall, you got a concussion. Like, that's just how that works. Like,
he got the doctors from the NFL and the concussion protocol. You're good to go out.
Right.
He just walked into a blue tent.
Oh man, yeah, he's just on the injured reserve list right now. All right. So while receiving excellent care over the past several weeks, I have also had to deal with a mild case of pneumonia. Doesn't sound great. I can assure you that I've been a good patient. At my age, I tend to do what my doctors tell me to do. I've submitted to every test that they can think of to help me figure out what caused this incident, and I'm continuing to do everything they ask to speed my recovery. In fact, with signs of continued progress, I've been able to move from hospital care to a rehabilitation center while I keep regaining my strength. Dude, step down from office. This is bad. As like, if you're still alive.
The rehab center is an old folks home.
Right. As much as it frustrates me, this process takes time. And on the advice of my doctors, I won't be able to return to the Senate floor to vote quite yet. But rest assured that in the meantime, I'm not taking a break from the Senate business that matters to you. I've been working closely with my legislative staff on current issues and with my Kentucky team who helped me provide timely constituent services across our Commonwealth. I've also been keeping in touch with my Senate colleagues on the appropriations process, midterm policies, politics, and everything in between. You're right to expect your representative to work hard for you, and part of my decision to retire at the end of my term is coming this January was being honest about the demands of the Senate work, but I still have unfinished business to complete on your behalf. Right. He's doing it for us, Eric. And I have every intention of finishing the job you elected me to do. I'll keep working hard to get back to the Senate floor as soon as possible, and I'll keep you posted on the progress of my recovery. Until then, I'm so grateful your prayers and I'm so grateful of your prayers and well wishes. Okay, and this is a note from the Office of the Attending Physicians. It's shorter. I'll try to get through it quick. Senator McConnell has experienced several falls throughout the year that have been attributed to his post-polio condition. He was admitted to the hospital 4 weeks ago after falling at home and sustaining minor injuries. A comprehensive evaluation by a multidisciplinary team determined that he had no fractures, cardiac abnormalities, stroke, tumor, or hemorrhage. Notice I didn't say concussion. Early in the hospitalization, he developed pneumonia, which responded rapidly to antibiotic treatment. The remainder of the hospital stay focused on physical therapy and strategies to reduce the risk of future falls. He has been medically cleared to continue fully participating in his intensive physical therapy program. Okay.
He is medically cleared to vote on bills.
Well, he can't if he's not on the House floor, right?
Well, so the joke with Mitch McConnell is that his wife, she has been running the show for a while. And I do find it ironic that the right makes fun of Eric Swalwell for banging Fang Fang when Mitch McConnell married his Fang Fang. And so she's out, gallivanting back and forth between the CCP, and America. If you know anything about the Chinese Communist Party, if you interact with them at all, you have to cooperate. You have to give them all the information regarding your business. There is no kind of working with them, kind of cooperating with them. And so he's always been a big issue. I've never understood why he was just grandfathered in, and you get to see this weekend at Mitch photo for the past, decade, really. We've needed a proof of life on him for a while. Not the first time he's frozen up. And so, yeah, this is the great example of what we were getting at with Lindsey Graham, is they just hold on to power for power's sake until they die.
Yeah, I mean, you got to wonder, are they going to break out the Lindsey Graham mask, do the old Biden puppet show?
Yeah, I mean, I these guys, you have Nancy Mace, who was like, getting her hands rubbing her hands together, like, yes, I want to run for Lindsey Graham's seat. And then you have Massey, who genuinely, felt like he was screwed out of a seat, and this would be a great redemption story.
Well, he genuinely was screwed out of his seat. Let's be clear.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm just saying from his perspective, I totally see his viewpoint of like, hey, this is an opportunity. And it's not like there isn't a strong contingent of people who don't like me, So I get it. I actually get it from Massey's perspective.
Has he said anything?
I doubt it. I haven't checked, but I would assume he has been keeping tight-lipped on this. Because Nancy Mace, as soon as Lindsey Graham was, she made a post like, they're reeling me back in, and everyone appropriately was like, this is such terrible timing on your part.
What state is Nancy Mace in again?
South Carolina. Lindsey Graham.
Okay. Oh man, wait, no. Freaking Lindsey Graham is Kentucky, and Mitch McConnell North Carolina.
You're flipping it. So Mitch McConnell is Kentucky, and Lindsey Graham is South Carolina. But
right. I'm retarded. Yep.
Those two states have a lot of very interesting politicians on both sides. You have Bashir in Kentucky, you have Mace and all the other crazies in South Carolina. Those two states are pretty interesting actually in politics.
It's weird how you got, Massey and Rand Paul as the congressmen there, who are both very libertarian, and then you've got the ultimate neocon warhawk in Mitch McConnell. That's just
true diversity.
What is that?
Diversity of opinion.
Yeah, super bizarre. I've never quite understood that, but yeah. So I mean, it's conspiracy freaking Sunday, man. Like, what's going on? Do you think he's still alive? Just right off the bat.
I think we're. Not you. I think the media is missing the point. Like, if there has to be a weekend at Mitch's kind of proof of life photo, isn't that evidence that he shouldn't be in Congress already? That he's too old to serve. He should have to resign. I feel like people should be pushing for that. Like, I don't really care what the status is. You're alive, cool, we need a new senator. You're dead, cool, we need a new senator. It's just like, to me, it's the same conversation.
All right. Well, I mean, next up, we've got something that I've been meaning to talk about for a couple of weeks now, but the story is definitely still relevant because it hasn't been voted on yet. But we've got this whole, you hear people saying the merger of the U.S. and the Israeli military, and it's a little more. It's not quite just merging our militaries, but it is something, and it is definitely something to be concerned about. Oh, this is way too small. I might have to freaking make this bigger. And so I'm gonna lose you for a second, Eric, as I make this bigger.
No problem, actually, because I have a cat making freaking noise. I'm gonna go take care of her right now.
Well, no, I'm not gonna lose you in that. Okay, so all right. Well, no, I want you to be here. No, I can't hear you making noise. She's fine. I got my big stupid dogs behind me. Don't worry about your. Do you have to go take care of it? Oh, I already lost them. All right. Well, we'll talk about this merger thing, you guys. So we've got, this is, what is it? Section 224 that is going to be voted on. And this is a provision in the 2027 National Defense Authorization Act, known as Section 224, or the United States-Israeli Defense Technology Cooperation Initiatives. Proposes deeply intertwining the U.S. and Israeli militaries. This legislation outlines joint weapons co-production, technology sharing, and synchronized supply chain in advanced warfare sectors like artificial intelligence and cyber warfare. This does not sound good, you guys. The bill has faced significant scrutiny and debate in Congress. The proposal, introduced by Rep. Mike Rogers and Rep. Adam Smith, in Section 224, it aims to establish an executive agent responsible for integrating Israeli and American defense technologies and weapons systems, providing a level of military industrial integration greater than the U.S. shares with any other nation. So the pushback, which is legitimate, lawmakers like Representative Thomas Massey and Ro Khanna attempted to strip this section from the defense budget, arguing it would bypass congressional oversight and entangle the U.S. in unconditional defense obligations. And once they do it, it's so hard to undo it. So this is kind of bonkers, you guys. Despite opposition, which cited human rights concerns and Israeli government actions, an amendment to remove integration provisions was rejected in the House, keeping the measure in a broader defense package. So if we merged like cyber intelligence and AI shit with Israel, and then Israel goes and, actually does things even worse than what they've been doing in Gaza, we are now essentially, if we're linked together, aren't we the ones that are essentially doing it alongside with them? I mean, this sounds sketch, dude. Like what are they trying to do? And isn't it a big coinky-dink that Benjamin Netanyahu's saying, yeah, we need to roll back the aid money that's coming into Israel. And then at the same time, they're basically trying to intertwine all of the cyber aspect of our military and weapons defense. So it's like, yeah, you wouldn't need the money anymore at that point. What's ours is yours, and what's yours is ours, right?
Yeah, it is great that we're merging with Israel as they're the most unpopular they've ever been. Great timing. Right. Nailed it. But, Michael, as your Mossad handler, I was very disappointed by that whole thing. So you weren't celebrating everything you said, like, oh, that's great. As your APAC guy, I'm not doing a very good job.
No, you're terrible. Actually,
Mossad hired me specifically to convince you on this subject. I'm not doing a good job.
No, and it's actually worse than that, because I told somebody earlier about where ridges on coins originated from. So
I'm your Matt Nuclear. I'm supposed to convince you that Israel's the best. Now, so I've heard, because I do have relatives in Israel, and I do know I listen to the pro-Israel side all the way over to the Young Turks. And
blocked and reported.
Yeah. What I found very interesting about this is the argument that, okay, well, this is from the pro-Israel people to challenge you. This is interesting. They would say, hey, we already have things like the Five Eyes, where our intelligence agencies are coordinating with New Zealand, Australia, Canada, England. We're already, we have that going. We have NORAD, which is in conjunction with Canada. We have NATO, right?
NORAD just tracks Santa Claus. That's all they do.
Yeah, it's very important. He could be a terrorist. You never know. You don't know. Okay, and that's why we send him pagers.
If anybody's going to shoot him down, it'd be Israel.
Yeah, if he goes over the Iron Dome, goodbye.
Santa. Did you know that Santa steers clear of Israeli airspace every Christmas?
Actually, if you look closely in the October 7th footage, you can see him flying over. With the terrorists. He's dropping off presents, though. He was really sweet. But so they would say that they would bring up those examples, right? And then my retort to that is, well, none of those are exact examples. So therefore, you're admitting that this is unprecedented, essentially. This merger is going farther than we've ever gone, even with like the Five Eyes, which I think would be the closest comparison.
Yeah. Well, I mean, even, for example, the F-35. Have you heard John Kiriakou talk about this? John Kiriakou is a former CIA whistleblower, and he seems to be the most legit one because he actually went to prison. But John Kiriakou tells a story about when we gave Israel the F-35, and we made the F-35I, which had slightly different software. It was, I don't know in terms of what capabilities it didn't have. But Israel was like, no, we want the F-35. Like, don't give us this Israel-specific F-35. We want the same exact ones you guys have. And then they got them. And I mean, apparently no other nation spies on us more than Israel. And we're just going to be sharing all of our military secrets with Israel. I mean, this is bonkers. This is like, how do we know that we're not going to have 20 years from now that they're not going to be our mortal enemy?
So to fill in what you were saying with John Kiriakou, so like the F-35E was what we gave to the Emiratis, and they were totally fine with the downgraded capabilities because it was, hey, what if it gets downed into enemy territory and then they're able to take our technology, which is actually a valid concern, which is why the Israelis seemed a little petulant for, hey, don't give me the that version of the toy. I want the full premium version here. Yeah. And that it seems pretty uppity from a supposed vassal state. And that is essentially what Israel is here, or supposedly is you are a subservient country to America, supposedly. Yet there's a lot of people saying, well, no, that lobbying power is so powerful, it feels like the tail is now wagging the dog, right?
Now, I've been saying this shit for a few years now, Eric, and you've done no. Israel's we're in control.
I'm playing devil's advocate. I actually have
interesting choice of words.
That is another name for the Jewish people. Yes, devil's advocate.
Whoa! See, you took it there. I didn't.
Hey, everyone needs representation, okay, including the devil. Okay, that's how the court of law works. Okay.
Wow.
Folks? Okay, and if he pays, only if he pays. But the big issue. So my viewpoint of Israel is kind of the opposite, which is that we control Israel. Yet they, at some point, kind of forgot that dynamic and has become an uppity, little brother, or like, so the issue with that, to me, is they have not remembered the history of it. Like in 1973, Golda Meir calling Richard Nixon, begging, please airdrop people. We're going to lose, right? There seems to be forgetting of that. But I also, as we've discussed, I don't want to get into like too big of a rant here, and I'll let you talk. But, there's been all this history with LBJ and Israel as well that we've covered, that, including the USS Liberty.
Something about a boat in 1967, yeah.
Yeah, and so the issue is that it goes back very far of this issue with entanglement. It goes back even further than that with the Suez Crisis, where Israel tried to not be the vassal state, tried to work with Britain and France, and then we basically shut that down, saying, no, we're the predominant superpower in the world. You will be running all that stuff through us. Sorry. And so that has been kind of the tension in the dynamic between Israel and the United States, in my opinion. And you're actually starting to see more people maybe even come to this conclusion of, oh, Israel was a creation of the military industrial complex in the guise of religion, because that's one of the best themes to hide behind as you're actually trying to sell arms and continually get people in conflicts that are not resolvable.
I think a lot, so one of the biggest aspects of the military industrial complex now isn't just weapons manufacturing. Now it's AI and autonomous targeting systems. And like, that's the future of the military industrial complex, tech. And then you've got companies like Palantir. So with, whose only client for the first 5 years of their existence was the CIA. And, they were created after Total Information Awareness. The CIA program went under, and then Palantir popped up. So that was kind of interesting. But the point is, if, Palantir is super pro-Israel, they're essentially a cutout for the CIA. If we are completely intertwined, and we're trying to develop systems that can acquire targets. I mean, this is like Skynet shit, that it can determine what the targets are and then execute on striking those targets. And in my opinion, that's likely what happened with the school. Was it Manab school in
the
Iran?
girls' school.
Yeah, where it was clearly bad information, but they triple tapped it. They hit it 3 times, and you got to ask, was this target acquired by AI? Point is, if we're trying to make these autonomous systems that are going to acquire targets, and essentially they just need to be pointed in the right direction, and Israel is completely intertwined with our military, and they're waging a war on 7 different fronts, and they have control over this, and we're tied to it. I mean, that's horrifying. If we let AI acquire targets to fight wars for Israel, and they blow up schools or churches or, a bunch of innocent civilians, and we are essentially what Israel does, America does. Like, this is so freaking dangerous. And then once it's done, once that's integrated, how are you going to ever unintegrate it if you wanted to? This is just a disaster waiting to happen, if you ask me.
Yeah, well, it's also in the context of it's not like our intelligence agencies already weren't being criticized for working with Israel too much. I mean, the CIA, they are joking that not only is Israel the sixth eye out of the five eyes, but that the CIA just takes everything that Israel tells them at face value, like the Mossad and other intelligence agencies, that like they have a expedited review process where their stuff gets in before other intelligence agencies. And so under that context, it's like, do you really need to merge the militaries when we're already so entangled?
Well, it's just not enough, Eric. It's just not enough. It's funny. I was talking to a guy that I ran into a buddy at lunch earlier today, and we were talking about, like, I kind of hold on hope that there's still like some white hats in the CIA. And according to John Kiriakou, CIA freaking hates Mossad. Like, they can't stand them because they're always feeding them bullshit. They're always, like the next story that we're going to talk about, this, according to Israeli intelligence, Iran has an assassination plot against Trump, and Israel would just absolutely love us to put boots on the ground in Iran and finish the job. Well, what more to raise American support for such an action than if Trump was taken out? And you got to ask the question, is this predictive programming trying to get us used to the idea that if Trump gets taken out, we're going to blame Iran right off the bat?
Oh, yeah. I mean, he even explicitly said, if I'm taken out,
right,
it was Iran. And, here are the launch codes essentially to do X, Y, and Z to Iran, blow them to smithereens.
Is he just in such a bubble that he can't step back and see how much he's being played?
Well, think of it this way. So, okay, let's take a step back. After he loses the 2020 election, you're still getting briefings from intelligence agencies, right? Mm-hmm. And they had been telling him for 4 years, all right, Mr. President, we have to brief you on another assassination attempt that is going to be happening by Iran. We have to protect you from it. And so supposedly he was getting this for years. And you have to wonder if that was purposeful, or if they were just relaying that, happenstance, or if that was genuine. But it is interesting to note that this has been in his ear for a while, that, hey, Iran is out to kill you and they're going to have assassination attempts on your life. I remember that before and after Butler, actually, the rumors that there was going to be an Iranian attempt at his life. There had always been this in the zeitgeist that it could happen. In fact, and to be fair, it's pretty easy when they're saying death to America as a chant. It's like, well, you can kind of quote unquote catch them in it. They're actually, I don't know if it was AI.
They do. I'm not saying that Iran doesn't want to take out Trump. I'm saying that they don't have very good capabilities of doing so. I think they would love to, but and it's funny, after the Butler thing, Bibi came out and tried to essentially, without saying it directly, blame it on Iran. Do you remember that?
Yeah, no, I mean, that's what I was referencing. There had always been that accusation and warnings of that. And again, you had always heard it like it was the San Andreas fault. Oh, Trump's due for an assassination attempt from Iran any day now, right?
It's funny. There's a funny San Andreas fault Twitter account.
Yeah.
Do you know this? Yeah. And he's always talking shit, saying he's going to have an earthquake. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. So I think that they had primed him for that. And I actually, from his standpoint, I understand it. And then, there was a banner that said in English, Trump, we will kill you,
Yeah. But didn't they also have Lindsey Graham and Laura Loomer on there?
Yeah, but you know what I'm saying? The Israelis, their intelligence is like, look at that banner over there.
Oh, you know what?
They want to kill you. And Trump's like, look, we got to pay billions of dollars for that. That's top intelligence right there.
I got to pull something up. Let me see if I can find it really quick. Because did you see the thing that Iran put out after Lindsey Graham was, they said that after Lindsey Graham came out and After it was broke that Lindsey Graham is dead. You know, I didn't save it.
Yeah,
I
well,
wish I
while
would've.
you're looking for that, that does remind me. So the Iranians, they're very boastful. So I actually even saw something today that they had said that they could assassinate Trump inside the White House. Now, do I believe that? No, but the issue is they brag so much on their own state TV that you're like, it's very easy if you're Israel to feel like, look, they're threatening to kill you. And so that's the technical truth of it.
I found it. You got to see this. This was so Iran put this out like this. It might have been the same night that that Lindsey Graham it was announced that Lindsey Graham is dead. So, all right, this is from the General over on X. This is, you know how they put out these. Iran's propaganda is legit, dude. It's funny, man. You could tell that it's created to go to a Western audience. And this is funny. This is just funny. All right, you got to watch this. So you see what it says after Lindsay right there?
Yeah.
Laura?
Yeah, they'd have to get her like Joan Rivers, you know, like when they're going in for plastic surgery.
Yeah. Well, a few more seconds. Let's play it. What the fuck? So that was put out by here. Let's see. So Iran releases a Lego animation depicting Lindsey Graham's sudden death. So I guess this was put out by Iranian state media, but that's wild, man. That is freaking wild. Yeah, I don't like. Are they trying to say that they were responsible? Like, what are we trying to make of this?
Well, it's definitely the era where the Muslim propaganda is far better than the Jewish propaganda. And so
it really is.
It is a new dawn and it's a new day. Great production values. I mean, just love the cinematography of the Legos. They got the guy who did Team America for that, you know.
I thought the guy that did Team America was South Park, the South Park
I'm
guys.
joking, but it was, you know, to set up little toys like that.
Yeah, it was pretty good. So, all right. So, last thing, we'll talk about the Ro Khanna thing if we got time. But so this is from the Kobayashi letter. It says, breaking. President Trump has formally notified U.S. Congress that the U.S. is at war with Iran, per Politico. Details include the move gives Trump another 60 days to use the military in the region without congressional approval. Trump said strikes that began on July 7th represent military action consistent with my responsibilities to protect Americans and U.S. interests both home and abroad. Trump also just said that he will hit Iran hard tonight amid mounting tensions. The Iran war appears to be back again. It's been back again for a couple of days now. The memorandum of understanding has appeared to have failed. So, it's weird. Like, if only anyone could have seen this coming when this war was launched. What, 3 months ago now? 4 months ago now? How long has it been going on? This is supposed to be didn't they originally say like a 4 or 5 day operation? And, you know, guys like Will Chamberlain are talking about how this isn't even a war. This is a military operation. This will be wrapped up in a few weeks. Dave Rubin, Misfit Patriot, all these freaking Mossad assets, if you ask me. Like, this whole thing is like, I mean, we could do a whole stream on the Iran war, but where are we at? What are your thoughts?
To fill in the blanks of what you were talking about. So Trump today reiterated something I had covered prior, which is he said, no, we're going to control the Strait of Hormuz now. We're going to toll the strait. We're going to be the guardian angel of the strait. He said that multiple times.
But doesn't it look like they're gearing up to actually put military assets inside the strait within striking distance of Iran?
So this is where it gets a little technical. So, like, this kind of goes back to the war on the Barbary pirates. This notion that no one controls a waterway, and ironically, it has a lot of parallels to the situation we're in now, because initially we were paying the tolls to the Barbary pirates, which is something that most people whitewash over, but we were spending so much money, a fifth of our national expenditure, according to some reports at one point. We were spending so much money to these Barbary pirates that it actually swung an election. Interesting. So Adams loses to Thomas Jefferson because Thomas Jefferson is basically saying what the American people are saying is, hey, how about a navy instead of paying the tolls to this, an extension of the Ottoman Empire at the time. And it is kind of ironic that, Bibi Netanyahu now is like saying we need a war with Turkey, and as we're in a war with Iran, which basically brings us back to the time of the Barbary pirates, where it was the Persian Empire and the Ottoman Empire we were concerned about. And so the Barbary, we fought this whole war over the notion that, because at the time, England was the one who was, surveilling the waterways with their navy, and you would have to pay them a fee essentially to protect your ships. And now we have taken that role, fast forward to 2026, after we had fought that war. And so I understand the rationale to do this. The execution of it was pretty haphazard, and clearly, as you were pointing out, it was sold to Trump, and he clearly thought of this like it was going to be maximum a week, and he didn't realize what everyone else had realized when they were honestly advising on this war, which is you will end up in a quagmire. And there are so many people who have an anger towards Iran, which goes back to even the hostage crisis. I understand why you want to get them back. But if you don't win, you end up hurting yourself more, and you help the person that you want to get back. So there was a fundamental misunderstanding when they came to the rationale of the war.
Well, I mean, there's indicators that we are going to put actual U.S. Navy and potential Marine assets inside the strait, and there's still talk of trying to take over or at least send in expeditionary units to Karg Island, which would be a dramatic escalation, puts us at the risk of getting, like, dude, if a military ship, if a Navy ship gets hit or sunk by Iran, any excuse to get boots on the ground. And I feel like that's what Israel wants. That's what the Likuds want. And this is just bringing us closer to an incident that if it pops off, we will be dumb enough to try and put boots on the ground. And I mean, if that happens, this is already Trump's legacy. This Iran war is already Trump's legacy. And the whole, the one single objective that you could say it has been made clear for this whole thing was Iran can never be allowed to have a nuclear weapon, right? If you ask me and a lot of other people, Iran is way more likely to seek and get a nuclear weapon now than they were before this war started. They would be stupid not to, if you ask me. And doesn't it seem like we are achieving the exact opposite objective? Iran is more likely to obtain a nuclear weapon. The mullahs are still in power. The Strait of Hormuz is now closed. They're going to be imposing tolls. Iran has sort of been, they're basically going to be open for trade on the the world market now. It's going to lift up their economy. How this hasn't benefited the U.S. at all. It's only benefited Iran. Oh, they don't have a navy anymore, though, Eric. Like, what are they going to do? This whole thing is, I don't know. I don't know how you're not humiliated if you're Trump. This whole thing is already a huge freaking fiasco, and it's not over. It looks like we're back in full scale war. Strait's still closed. Mullahs are still in power. They're more likely to get a nuclear weapon. What the fuck? Like, how could they not see this coming?
Yeah, I can't disagree with you at all on any of that, especially if let's focus on this. What were the objectives? It's hard to say that were met. I don't know. Well, what are the objectives in general? Those keep, bouncing, they keep moving the goalpost on that. Cause as you noted, sometimes it's about the nukes. Sometimes it's about the Strait of Hormuz. And it seems like Iran has been foot forward on all the negotiations. They've been ahead of the curve on everything, dictating what this negotiation will be about. They did a very good job of negotiating and making this all about Hezbollah and Lebanon far away from themselves. That was genius negotiating in the sense that all you're doing is you're making Netanyahu and Trump the boogeymen in this scenario, and you are detaching yourself from responsibility on why the deal doesn't come through, even when you could be the one who tanks the deal. It was very smart.
And it's driving a wedge between Netanyahu and Trump, because Trump's like, okay, Netanyahu, you got to chill out in southern Lebanon. You can't be, occupying. So you see also Apple Maps took all of the cities off of Apple Maps that are in southern Lebanon. I don't know if you noticed that.
Oh yeah. They'll change anything on a whim. All the stadiums in the World Cup are now like Dallas Stadium because.
All right. Well,
Yeah.
but I mean, it's
just complete equal to the Lebanon thing, by the way.
But the demands that Iran puts out there is basically, Trump, you have to put Netanyahu in check, and you've got to make them stop waging war in southern Lebanon. And I mean, they didn't say anything about Turkey, so I guess that's why Netanyahu is coming out and saying, oh, well, we got to prepare for war with Turkey now. And Turkey is not Hezbollah. Like, they have a legit military, and
they're part of NATO, so that's why it would be very touchy, because then it would be you would have to make the choice of, do we fight to defend the NATO member, or
have you ever seen Turkey's special forces guys? Like, they're not fucking around. They're not like just some slapdick military. These guys know what they're doing.
Back in the day of the Ottoman Empire, which I mentioned prior, they had one of the original great modern fighting forces. Yeah, like they've been known for being good at war for a long time. And so it's just like Iran, where it was like, you were warned, hey, this culture, they've been preparing for this moment. They have like a geography that makes it tough, and other contexts. They, both Turks and the Iran, they control a very important waterway. The Turks, the Dardanelles, the Iranians, the Strait of Hormuz. And so, it would not be a good idea in a lot of different ways. I mean, the Turks, they were known back in, I forget if it was World War I or World War II, they would put mines in the Strait of the Dardanelles, to prevent shipping and make all that tough. I mean, they are not anyone to mess with. They would be an even tougher foe than Iran, in my opinion. And you're biting off even more than you can chew at that point. And so I would not advise it, but I'm not Lindsey Graham or Netanyahu.
And I don't want to put you on the spot, and I don't like making predictions either, but where do you think this goes with Iran?
With Iran, I believe that they are trying, they don't want this to end. What incentive structure do they have to make this end? Just like in 1979, they want to impact elections, so they want to impact, just like they impacted the Jimmy Carter Reagan election, and that, gave them a sense of power. They want to impact Netanyahu's upcoming elections in the fall. and they want to impact our midterms coming in.
So
the
where
fall.
does this go? But where do what are your predictions here?
They want to keep it in a quagmire for at least until those two things I mentioned.
Do you think this will escalate to United States boots on the ground?
I don't, but I think that's a technicality because we're talking about the Strait of Hormuz. We're talking about waterways here. So do I think that there's going to be an escalation of the military via the Navy? Yes, I do. Do I think it's going to be boots on the ground outside of Karg Island? I don't think that would happen this year.
I don't think Israel gives a shit about the Strait of Hormuz. They want to overthrow and destabilize Iran to make it another, create another power vacuum. And, they want to overthrow the government. The only way to really do that at this point, which I don't even think is possible with, our military forces, is a full-scale war with Iran, boots on the ground. And I think that is their primary objective. Will it happen? I don't know, but I think that's what Israel wants.
Yeah, but the issue is they're spread out a little thin right now because, Turkey, the reason why Netanyahu is mentioning Turkey is because Turkey is now meddling in Syria.
Yeah.
And, Israel's like, this is our backyard.
Right,
You're not allowed to meddle. This is our territory. Right. And so I think the issue for Israel is they are just so unpopular. We are their only real ally outside of Germany and England. And without real support, they would be biting off more than they can chew. But the counter argument to this is Netanyahu either needs to do something drastic to change his prospects of winning this upcoming election, or he could be tried, in a military tribunal or, for war crimes. So I could see Netanyahu trying to escalate things. I could see Israel trying to change the equation before their elections. That would be the real X factor in this that could disrupt the natural stability of, money not wanting too much change to happen. But well, how do you see it playing out?
I don't know. I think Israel's objectives are to manipulate or trick or coerce the United States into fighting that war in Iran with boots on the ground for them. Not Israel putting boots on the ground, but I think that's their primary objective. It's funny. So we haven't even talked about, oil prices or oil futures, but Danger brings up because that's like what the whole Strait of Hormuz thing is about, just oil futures, oil prices. So Danger in the chat says he doesn't think Trump cares about the Strait of Hormuz either. It hurts China more than anyone, and I feel that's the main play. Did you know that the reason that, so I hear that the reason that oil prices haven't spiked up to where everybody thought they were, 120, 140, 50, $200 a barrel, is because China has taken themselves off the market. Did you know that they're not buying oil? Everything that China's doing right now is dipping into their own strategic petroleum reserves. So they've taken themselves off the market, and that's why prices haven't skyrocketed, because China's not buying oil. So they're keeping demand down, which really helps the world at that point. But how long can they do that for?
So a couple things to that. Well, how did they build the strategic oil reserve? They were getting cheap oil from Iran for a while, and so that's how that is connected. And then supposedly we did like an Argo Ocean's 11-esque mission where we rescued 100 million barrels of oil and snuck it out of the Strait of Hormuz.
But I mean, that ain't shit. How many barrels of oil?
It's a drop in the bucket. I know, but that was publicized as one of the reasons why. I think in the end, all of this is they're going to manipulate things to hopefully create a false sense of stability for the market, for investors. And that's what I'm always hoping for against, all the chaos. But to your point, and to bring it back to what we were talking about, I think the real inciting event is another Trump assassination attempt that could be used to spring us into a war. That is the
I don't
major
even think
concern.
that would. So I heard somebody talking like, wasn't it Ben Gavir that said something recently that was like maybe we US needs another 9/11 in order to like incentivize them and something along those lines. And then somebody was, I think it was Alex Jones was actually saying, well, that event would be Trump getting taken out by Iran. And I don't think that would rile up the American people enough to want us to invade Iran, even if the American people thought that that's what happened. I think in order to get America, like, enough people riled up for us to actually support a full-scale invasion of Iran would be like an actual 9/11, like something, crazy that killed tens of thousands of people. And like, that's what I'm just on the lookout for right now, is some sort of crazy event, like, world-changing event that's blamed on Iran. Like, that's the only thing. If something like that happens, it's like all bets are off. Like, it's just, you can see how many different ways this thing could spiral right now. And not to mention the triggers are still there for oil. Like, it's not like there's tons of people like, the Will Chamberlains that are bragging about how everybody is saying oil was going to spike and, it's like $70-something a barrel right now. And that's only oil's futures. That's not the actual oil price that people are paying off the ship. But the potential for oil spiking up to $150, $200 a barrel, that's still there, especially if China comes back on the market. We've completely drained our strategic petroleum reserves. So, I mean, it could happen overnight that all of a sudden prices just absolutely skyrocket. So, and like you said, there's a ton of market manipulation going on with the oil prices right now. And I think there's a lot of shit going on behind the scenes that's being kept quiet. And we are hitting tank bottom,
There is a potential for Iran to do something right before the midterms as well, to even further twist the knife into Trump regarding the oil prices. And so it is definitely a concern. I agree. I hope people come to their better angels on this, but I doubt it.
Where's all that Venezuela oil, bro? I thought that was supposed to just solve our problems.
Yeah, they didn't tell you that was like for shipping. It wasn't for us. Like, it's not refined oil that we can put in our cars. So it's for manufacturing and stuff. And it's like, woo, we did all that for something that will never impact you or I. Worth it.
All of our refineries aren't even set up to process that type of oil, from my understanding as well.
The only one
Except
is
for
Houston.
one. Yeah.
And that's why it's the cancer belt over there. Yay. Go visit your local Galveston beach.
Oh, yeah. We were talking about that the other day, about your guys' awesome beaches there.
Yeah. Yeah. We don't have real beaches. We have sand with radioactivity and other toxic chemicals over here.
I feel bad. I'm probably going to go to the beach tomorrow. All right, brother. That's all I got. Is there anything you want to cover before we get out of here?
No, I mean, it was really appreciate you having me on again. Love what you've been doing. Keep it up, and we'll make this more frequent. I'd revamped my home studio, still doing it.
No, I want you to be, bro. I've been trying to freaking convince you to do like a weekly thing with me for a while now. It's way easier on me when you're on too. It doesn't take me nearly as much setup time. I need to pull up a few topics and we just shoot the shit. It's way easier when you join me.
Yeah, I mean, as your Mossad handler, they want me to check in on you frequently, and
win-win.
It's a way we can extract shekels out of you.
Win-win.
Exactly. That is Fang Fang's cousin from Vietnam. Win-win.
Right. All right, folks. If you enjoyed the show and you're new here, if you're watching still, please hit that like button, leave a comment, helps the algorithm. If you're new here, please hit that subscribe button. I'm only 150 subscribers away from 1,000, which would be a big milestone for me. So if you're watching on Rumble or on X, please go over to YouTube and subscribe. I've been trying to build that channel for a while. You guys see my dog's nose? She's just sticking her big dumb Great Dane head in here. This is Molly. She was so good this episode. She didn't bark once.
Yeah,
How about that?
The cameras are on and she behaves well.
Yeah, I shut the window. That's probably why. It's like scorching death hot in my studio right now. All right, folks. Thank you so much for hanging out. Before we get out of here, Molly, you're ruining everything right now. Before we get out of here, you know the rules. We got to tell a joke from the greatest book ever written, The Truth About Chuck Norris, which is now torn up. So, courtesy of Danger here in the chat, I've got Chuck Norris Cannot Be Stopped, another book full of Chuck Norris jokes.
Nice.
You know the rules. I open the book, my eyes go to a joke, and I read it. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not. Let's go to the back of the book and see what we got here. All right, Chuck Norris joke of the evening. You ready, Eric? You going to use this in your stand-up if it's good?
I've been using all of these and getting booed off stage frequently.
Makes sense. All right, Chuck Norris joke of the evening. The one time Chuck Norris says that he blacked out, he woke up to a room where women were naked, necks were broken, and a goat was wearing a T-shirt that read Team Delta Force. And on that note,
Rape
stay
confession.
Calibased.